Hi, I'm Gabriella Richardson, and I am a lover of learning. I am a cultivator of community, and I am a seeker of belonging.
Everybody has a story to contribute that will hopefully help somebody else in a similar position.
Compassion is at the heart of it all.
Mm-hmm. I am a messy and imperfect human, just trying to do my best to make this world a little bit of a better place.
And the compassionate heart and mind is how we start to heal as a people and find common ground.
Feels like there's a lot of power there.
So I look forward to you joining me in that pursuit on the Nexus of Narratives.
What a beautiful thing this turned into.
Well, welcome to the Nexus of Narratives. I am Gabriella Richardson, and I'm here with my dear husband, DJ Richardson, and just wanted to share a little bit about what the Nexus of Narratives is and why I feel like it's an important thing to share with the world. So I'm of the belief that as we navigate life and make choices in pursuit of a goal or a future, that there are times where we run up against our own beliefs, whether they be about ourselves or about the world around us. And we have to take a look at what we know about ourselves and about other people and about the systems around us and make a decision to say, the beliefs that I've had are not serving me and that needs to change and evolve, or I'm going to sink my heels into these beliefs and that is my path forward. And no one better than the other, but I believe that is a common experience that makes us human as we seek to find belonging in this really divided world. And I hope that this space can be one where, as people share these stories of these times and get vulnerable, that we can model what it's like to connect with people who have different beliefs from us and really get into that deeply human experience that I hope will bring us together in a world that feels so deeply divided. So I think this is an invitation for folks to come together. And I'm excited and I'm nervous and it's going to be great.
Yes, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
That was very well put.
Well, thank you. For once, I was able to put it well for a while. We had a moment not a few days ago where you invited me to share what I just shared with some people that we had just met. And I was just fumbling over my words. I think I was in this place where I was just like, oh, I don't want to play it up. I don't want to make it sound too cool or too important, because I felt like I needed to like deflate myself in some kind of way, like as if I did justice to the purpose behind this work and that it would mean some kind of interpretation of me. And so I felt the need to dampen that. And when you called me out and you were like, you're not doing justice to this, I was like, oh, okay, you're right. What was I going to talk about? What is my podcast? Why is it important?
Yeah.
So, and you said some really cool things too about it.
Yeah, I think the key piece is the stories around people's beliefs and how they interacted with these beliefs over time, and the conflict that can come between interpersonal beliefs or intrapersonal beliefs. And this is a great platform to showcase those examples. And hopefully with stories like these, that you're right, that we can share them and it helps us build a more connected world.
And something I would actually even challenge people who are listening is I've had some conversations in pursuit of creating this space, or talking to people who will come up in episodes in the future where I will share some information and I feel like it's not being perceived in the way that I had intended to deliver it. And I had this aha moment the other day where I was like, oh, even people who are listening to this are probably going to be listening with their bias, with their lens, with their worldview, and seeking an outcome of the story to find a meaning that is aligned with their views, their values, their beliefs, to then like double down on their experience as a human. And that might authentically happen. But I actually would love to challenge anybody listening to this to try the opposite and test what it feels like to listen to someone's story and not validate your experience, and to just purely listen to the words that are being said and not add anything around it, not add any meaning of your own, and just see what comes up. And I think that's a really cool opportunity for this too, that people can practice.
Yeah, and how can people use this platform and bring it into their everyday life?
Yeah, and we'll have questions around that too to help with how people can apply that. So I invite this to be a safe practice space for people to immerse themselves in what it's like to have a deeply vulnerable conversation and keep it safe for the people who are exposing a part of themselves, so that they can then take those skills and those tools into the world with them and build stronger relationships, build more deeper connections with people, find common threads of connection with people who are different from them. Whether they resonate with the story that's being shared or not, I think there's still an invitation to listen to someone's experience and say, whoa, I had no idea it was like that for that type of person. I had this view about this group of people. I made these assumptions. Here's how I can actually build connection with them instead. Here's how I can actually seek an opportunity to come together with people who I previously was extremely judgmental about. And I have those experiences too. Like, I'm human, I'm imperfect, I'm messy. And I have moments where I have to check myself and be like, whoa, Gabby, that inner thought was really mean. And you need to take a step back and try to figure out what that other person is thinking and what that experience might be like for them. And I think this is a perfect place to play with that.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Why is this work so important to you personally?
I've been thinking about that a lot lately, actually. And I don't know if I haven't shared this with you because I've been processing it for like a couple of weeks now. Is I have been putting together the pieces that I, as a person, have spent my entire life seeking belonging and feeling like I don't belong in the spaces that I am. And whenever I share that with somebody, they're like, what are you talking about? You fit so naturally into a space. And sure, like, I can chameleon myself into spaces and build connections and build relationships, but I still feel othered in a way. Like, I feel like people will I feel brought in and invited into a space with stipulations. And I feel like that's probably completely self-imposed. And as we've been reflecting with some of the conflict I've had with my mom, where she shared some stories that from her angle, like, this is what the conflict looked like. And I'm like thinking to myself, wow, what I remember was being so desperate to be seen and to be accepted and to be held and have my heart held and to say, hey, I see you. I see where you're coming from. And I'm going to hold this tender part of you. and realizing that in every space I've stepped into, that's what I've sought. And I want to create that for people. I want a world where people can feel a sense of belonging, to where they don't feel othered, to where they can find connection in any space that they go into and feel that just so deeply in their heart.
Mm.
Because that's what I want for myself. And so maybe it's selfish or naive to think that's what other people want too, right? So let's give that to other people. But isn't that how we show up in the world, to kind of heal ourselves? Is sort of what we offer others. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who do you want to feel like they belong, or if someone's listening to this, to understand that they belong in this space?
I think it's important that everybody feels like they belong. Like, no matter what your background has looked like, no matter whether or not society has loved you, if society has rejected you, if your family and friends have loved or rejected you, if you feel like you fit in, if you feel like you don't fit in, if you have found yourself in places where you've gotten into messy situations because of whatever else was happening around you, that you can find space to belong. Whether that's you were involved in a cult, you were in gangs and in prison, and you were a part of like really horrible and abusive relationships. You escaped something really terribly traumatic, or you feel like an outsider in any space that you're in. I think everybody deserves to feel heard and accepted and loved, because often I think from what I've been listening to and hearing is that oftentimes people will find themselves in spaces that are harmful to others and harmful to themselves because they're seeking belonging and they're seeking acceptance. So I want a world, I want people who can meet someone and learn, oh, you used to like be in gangs, you had an experience in prison. Wow, that sounds really rough. And how cool that you've been able to overcome that. Or, oh, you had experience with like debilitating addiction and you're still battling that right now. And how powerful that you've overcome all of these things, and just to take a beat away from judgment. I think everybody can benefit from that.
Yes.
Because I think this is going to be my little soapbox here. I believe like our systems and our people and our groups, we kind of other groups of people and then keep them in groups and systems that are oppressive, that are harmful. And we'll say, oh, but those people are like that. But it is exactly that view that keeps people there. Whereas if we would just hold space and say, like, yeah, we are all a result of our upbringing, of what we were exposed to in the world, and hold compassion for we are a result of the spaces that we grew up in. And if we can hold love for people and see the capacity of them to grow and be just as human as we are, then I think the results that we would see as a society would be so tremendous.
Good. You have any last thoughts?
Nope, I went on my soapbox.
Okay.
Thank you for pulling me on my soapbox.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, thank you. And that's the purpose of the Nexus of Narratives. A special thank you goes out to Sparta Media Group for producing this podcast ever so fantastically. So thank you to Jesse and his team. And an additional special thank you goes out to my sweet and talented husband, DJ Richardson, for creating the music that is used in this production. As we juggle our sweet, tiny human. Thank you so much, so deeply for spending your time with me here on the Nexus of Narratives. I hope that you found this to be a tremendously valuable use of your time and your capacity, and that this might help you to create greater connection and compassion in the spaces all around you. On a different path. No one better than the other, but I believe that is, and so does she, believes that's such a human experience to have moments through our lives that we really have to face everything that we know about the world. And those moments where we face everything that we do and don't know about the world, I believe is what makes us so deeply human and can be a place where we find a common thread to connect one another in a world that feels so deeply divided. And she thinks it's funny. But I hope that, really, I hope that this space, sweet baby. I hope that this space,
She goes.
there she goes. I hope this space, oh wait till she's done. Oh, she found it. She found the other microphone. I hope this space can be one where people find ways to come together in a world that's feeling just so deeply divided. So.
Finding the compassion for both individuals on both sides of the conflict. And for this work where you understand the beliefs that are coming out of both sides and the values of both sides, and using that to find compassion for anybody on any side of a conflict. For me, it's feeling like I can't. It's yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She said she was made for the camera.
Yeah.
And that you're not doing enough to acknowledge her impact in this space.
Yeah.
We might have to do this at another time.
It's gonna be good B-roll.
Yeah.